Welcome to Hey, It's Carly Rae's Book Club. This is Book Hour where authors will talk their latest novels, reveal their writing process, and play some fun book games. I'm your host, Carly Rae. Today, we have New York Times bestselling author RaeAnne Thayne. We're going to be talking about her upcoming novel, Christmas at Holiday House, finding out if writing a Christmas book differs from writing one of her traditional romance novels, as well as see how well she knows her characters' dialogue and if she'd rather build a gingerbread house or bake sugar cookies. We'll dive in right after this. Hello, RaeAnne. Tell us where you're joining us from.
I am in the mountains of northern Utah, so about 20 minutes from the Idaho border.
Now, you are known for your stories of hope, healing, and heart. Your upcoming novel, Christmas at Holiday House, releases October 6th. Here is a close-up of the beautiful cover. Now, Debbie Macomber said, Thayne engages the reader's heart and emotions, inspiring hope and the belief that miracles are possible. In your words, tell us about Christmas at Holiday House. Is it another RaeAnne Thayne classic?
Well, I hope so. I hope readers like it. So this has all my favorite things about Christmas in one book. I've got a young mother, struggling young mother. I've got a hero who is kind of unapproachable and not interested in love, and then all the Christmas things you could possibly want. There's storms, there's, a gingerbread at a house competition, there's music, there's lots of Christmas music, and I haven't really focused on Christmas music too much in my books, but this one is overflowing. You can almost hear the carols play as you read the book, I hope. And it's basically about a young mother a widow who ends up helping one of her friends' grandmothers in this little town in Colorado, a little ski town in Colorado, and she loves the town and loves everything about it, but the sister or the brother of her friend isn't thrilled to have her there, so that's where the sparks fly.
Now, you've written or co-written over 100 novels and counting in your career. What inspired you to create Silver Bells, Colorado, and bring to life the characters of Abby Powell and Ethan Lancaster in Christmas at Holiday House?
So I was trying to think of, I had to start a new series, basically, or at least a standalone book. And I've been writing in series for a long time that are connected books. And so it was interesting to start new and to just think, where would I like this book to be set? And I love Colorado. I love the mountains of Colorado. That seems like a perfect place for this particular book. And I just kind of had the idea about a house that needed to be fixed up for Christmas, and why did it need to be fixed up? That was sort of where I went with the plot group. And I meet with the plot group, and it was actually Susan Mallory and Jill Chavez who helped me come up with the plot for this particular book. And we had a great time thinking of all the different things that they could do together, and it was really fun. And what I really like about this particular book is that I do have the story of the hero and heroine, but there's also a really strong secondary romance in this book. One of my favorite secondary romances that I've ever written. I just loved the story of Lucy and how she sort of comes back to town and figures out the way her direction is going to be going in her life.
Now, was it difficult writing a Christmas book when it wasn't Christmas, or did you get the idea of Christmas at Holiday House this past holiday season?
So I actually started this, we plotted it in October of last year. So it was kind of starting to be holiday season, but I wrote it, I started writing it, I think around December. So, I started during Christmas time, but then I had to finish it up January, February, and then into quarantine, finishing it up. And it is tough. There are things I do to keep the holiday spirit alive. I have a Christmas tree in my office, which was one of those pictures that you showed. I keep that up until I'm done writing the Christmas book. And so it helps me get going to get finished, because I'm thinking I got to get that Christmas tree down. I'm not going to take it down until I'm done with this book, So that's one of my motivations to hurry and finish the book. But there are things I do. I've always written, I think I've done a Christmas book probably 20 Christmas books, 20 different years. This is my October is the 25th anniversary of me selling my first book. And so I've written many Christmas books during that time. And a lot of them are in spring, but I've learned to like play Christmas music. I light a pine scented candle to sort of remind me, scents are so important to the writing process for me and to emotions. And so I light like pine scented candles to make it feel like Christmas, and just little tricks I've learned after many years of writing Christmas books.
So it's always Christmas at your house.
Always Christmas till about March, and then I shut it down till I start having a book coming out in October. So for 6 months, I get a break from Christmas. Not a break. I love Christmas. I would have it year round if I could, but we wouldn't appreciate it as much if we had it year round, would we?
No. Now, what was your favorite part of crafting Christmas at Holiday House? What makes this book stand out from the other Christmas books you've written, such as Coming Home for Christmas and A Cold Creek Holiday?
So both of those books were connected to a series, and although they were standalone books, they were connected, and so I was able to have recurring characters. What I was able to do in this book is introduce completely new people that I'd never had before in any of my books. I love the secondary characters in this particular book. I love the grandmother Winnie. She was wonderful. There's a brother, the Lucy's hero, Jose, has a brother named Rodrigo, and I loved him. And just the ability to sort of start fresh in a community that I've never written about, and I haven't introduced, there's no back history between any of the people because my readers don't know them. They're all brand new to them. And so it was nice to start fresh. Every Christmas book, I come into it thinking, what can I do differently in this book? What can I bring to this that I haven't done before? But at the heart, they're all going to have the same sort of message that Christmas is a time of hope and joy. And I think my books fit perfectly into that season, because that's what I try to bring to every book, is the idea that, you can have tough things going on in your life. You can deal with struggles, and like we've all had to do in the last, 6 months, life can be really hard, but you can find those moments of joy. And the holiday season is a perfect time to sort of focus on that feeling of hope and helping other people and opening your heart to other people.
Yeah. And then tell us how you're able to keep track of all the different characters in your different books, especially the Christmas books.
So I keep a pretty comprehensive, what we call it, a Bible in the industry, where it's just a list of who all the people are and how they're connected to each other. For a standalone book, it's much easier because I don't have to, remember what eye color did this character have and 5 books ago when I mentioned them, So like for Haven Point, when I have a long running series that I just wrote the last book of, and I think there ended up being 11 or 12 books in the series. I don't exactly remember, but I had to keep a list of every single character I'd ever introduced so that I didn't duplicate names and things like that. And so for this one, it was a little bit easier, but I keep all their lists. Now I do it just in my note app on my computer. So I have a list that says character names and place names and then important scenes and things like that. So I just keep that note app going on my iPad next to me while I'm writing on my laptop, so that I can flip through it and say, oh, I need to find out who that person is or whatever. But that is my downfall. Unfortunately, I have good editors who most of the time catch mistakes. Seems like every book I make a mistake in the names somewhere, but most of the time my editors catch those.
Well, you heard RaeAnne talk about her upcoming novel, Christmas at Holiday House, proving it's never too early to get into the holiday spirit. Stay tuned, because when we return, we're going to find out how RaeAnne keeps track of all of her different books as well.
Thank you for choosing Three Brothers Wineries. I'm Erica Policelli. I'm one of the partners here at the winery, and I want to tell you a little bit more about our estate. We were founded in 2006 by Dave and Luann Mansfield. We have 40 acres of grapevines, a fully operational farm. All of the wines you're tasting today are from our farm. We have 2 female winemakers, Kim Marconi and Paige Vinson. On our campus, we actually have 3 wineries and a microbrewery. We have an extensive portfolio of not only wine, but also beer, hard cider, wine spritzers, and wine slushy, all manufactured here on site. When we opened our doors in 2007, we had a modest staff of 10. We've grown to employ 40 full-time and 100 part-time employees. We pride ourselves on creativity, innovation, and our company culture. When you make a purchase from Three Brothers Wineries or Warhorse Brewing, you're supporting a majority women-owned small business, and we thank you for that.
Welcome back to Book Hour. I'm your host, Carly Rae, here with New York Times bestselling author RaeAnne Thayne. RaeAnne, in your interview with Harlequin Books, you said that you write a novel in as short as 2 months. How do you outline how many books you want to write in a year?
Usually that's a function of my deadlines. My publisher, I have a contract with my publisher, and they, we come up with a publishing schedule, and so I know how far ahead of that publishing schedule that I need to have the book done. And so right now my schedule is 2 to 3 books a year. I can write, when I say a book in 2 months, that's rare for me. That's a like a Silhouette special, or a Harlequin special edition. Sorry, it was Silhouette when I started there years and years ago. Harlequin special edition, which is a shorter book. The longer books that have subplots and intricate, storylines, they take much longer because I have to do a lot more outlining and things like that. But most of the time, I just calculate. I try to write 10 pages a day. Sometimes it comes in a little bit less than that. Sometimes it's a little bit more, but that's about my average for the day. And you just do it 6 days a week, and somehow you come up with a book at the end of it.
Now, do you focus on like one book at a time? Like if you're setting out your schedule, do you say, okay, I'm going to focus on this one and then I'll move to this one?
When I'm doing the actual writing, I try to focus on only one book at a time, but I usually have to have, there's usually various books in some area of production, so like right now I just finished a book a couple of weeks ago, so I'm hard at work on the next book, but I'm going to be doing edits for the book that I just finished. Those will be coming to me, and right now I have to think ahead what's coming next, because they're going to be needing to do a cover for it, and so I need to at least have an idea for what's next. So even though I'm actively writing only one at a time, I'm thinking about the next one, and I'm going to have to be doing edits on the previous one, and I'm doing promotion now on one that I wrote a year ago.
Yeah. Now, with so many different books with your name on it, do you have a favorite one?
That's always such a hard question. And I can't say that I have an absolute favorite. I always say it's the book that I just finished that I don't have to do any work on anymore, but there are parts of every single book that I've written that I reread my own books, and I think, wow, did I really write that? Who did that? I don't remember that. I don't remember writing that. It all seems somewhat miraculous. Writing is such I don't know how to explain it, but there's just some kind of magic that happens when you're in the zone, and especially, just as you're turning a book in. I just don't remember sometimes, oh, I edited that and made it that is much better than where it was when I started. And so there's some kind of magic. But I like every book that I've written. I'd have to say that there've been maybe, I think, one book in all of my career that I don't want to ever see again, and it's one that I won't publish. I have the rights to it, so I'll never publish it again. It was like the first book I ever wrote, so that one will probably never see the light of day. But we learn from our mistakes, don't we?
Yeah. Now, did you always want to be a writer? Do you still remember that faithful day when you got an agent?
So I did not always want to be a writer. When I was in high school, I was very actively involved in drama. I was lucky enough to go to a school that had a very strong, powerful drama program, and so I did like a different play every month and was very involved with that. So that was sort of the direction I was going to take. But my mom felt like I was too one-dimensional. Because I was a huge reader, she said, why don't you take a journalism class and see if you like that? So I took a journalism class and fell in love with that. So that's actually what my degree is in. I worked for 10 years as a newspaper reporter and editor. But all the time I thought, I want to write a romance novel. I love romance novels. That was my favorite thing to read. And I just thought, I want to write one someday. And finally, 30 years ago, I sat down and started when I was on maternity leave with our daughter. And that was the book that sold 5 years later, 25 years ago, I sold that one. And I've been doing it ever since. And as far as the agent goes, I actually sold my first 5 books without an agent.
Wow.
And so I was already sold, I was already published, and then went to a conference and met. I had a friend who recommended my first agent, and I loved her, and I was very excited to get her.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, that's really interesting. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, I was already in those days, back in the day when I started in '96, you could write category romance without an agent. You didn't need one at the time. And so I started with that one.
Yeah. Now, with all the various plots, characters, and settings you write about, is writing about Christmas one of your favorite things to do?
It really is. I do love every time I start a Christmas book. It's just such a happy feeling because Christmas, like I said, is about hope and joy and all the things that I love and making people feel good. Christmas is usually a time, hopefully a time where people feel good. This year's going to be interesting to see how we all get through it, but it's a time when usually people are nice to each other, a little more nice to each other than other times of year, and we can think about all the things I love, like being home with your family and cuddling in and watching a movie together and reading a great book and sitting by the fire and all the things that I love. So I hope I'm able to bring that into my books. That's the feeling I have and the mood I have when I'm sitting down to write them.
Yeah. Well, you heard RaeAnne tell us whether writing about Christmas is her favorite thing to do. When we return, it is game time. We'll see how well RaeAnne knows her character's dialogue from Christmas at Holiday House.
Coffee. The liquid that helps us start our day or keeps us going at 2 p.m. when our keyboard pillow nap comes calling. At Fire Department Coffee, we know how important it is to you that your coffee tastes great. Because let's face it, when you're choking down 8 to 10 cups of bean juice a day running back-to-back calls, or just trying to keep your wits together while your well-behaved children tug at every last strand of your sanity, we want to make sure that every last drop in your mug is the best coffee you've ever tasted.
Who are you talking to?
That's why at Fire Department Coffee, every stage of your order is watched after by carefully trained professional eyes, like our head roaster, retired fire captain Dave Dave! From our R&D department that's always striving to make sure that your next cup of Fire Department coffee is the perfect balance of wonderful taste and the caffeinated motivation that you need to get through your day.
There has got to be a better way of testing this.
Probably.
Making sure that you get your orders delivered to you as quickly and affordably as possible. Hey, Doris, you know you're the only lady I hand deliver to.
Oh, thank you, Jason. I was wondering if you could help me. I think my cat is stuck in the attic again.
Are you sure he's up here, Doris? It's really hot. I can't see anything.
Oh, I'm sure he's still up there. Why don't you take off your shirt? You wouldn't want to overheat.
I'm not falling again for that, Doris.
And at the end of the day, we're just thankful that we get to follow our passion of making high-quality coffee for thousands of hardworking people all across the world. So thank you for your support, and we look forward to making each and every one of your days better, one cup of coffee at a time.
Woo! Good job, guys. Very nice. Smooth.
A lady named Doris just ordered a couple bags of coffee and asked for it to be delivered by her steamy ginger firefighter.
Oh, that lady is relentless.
Welcome back to Book Hour. It is game time. The game we're going to play first is Guess the Character's Dialogue. RaeAnne, I'm going to read you a quote from your novel of Christmas at Holiday House, and you're going to guess which character said it.
Okay, we'll see how we do here.
All right. The first quote is Holiday House, so the name really has nothing to do with Christmas.
That would be Abby.
Yes, we have 1-0.
Ding, ding, ding.
You never know what you're going to love unless you try things. That's what I tell Dakota. You can't say you aren't good at something until you have at least given it a chance. Which character said that?
Mariah.
Yes! Ding, ding, ding. 2-0.
The Dakota was the tip off. If I hadn't heard that, I'd be like, oh no, who is that?
Now, this one says, I can't believe we have already done it 2 nights and only have 6 more to go. Next Sunday at this time, we'll be all finished with them and we'll have money to start work on the Adaptive Lodge. It's going to be so marvelous to break ground for it in the spring. Which character
is that Winnie?
Yes! 3-0. See if you get the last one. Thank you for teaching me some important lessons about myself, things I think I had to learn about who I was to meet and fall for Marcos. If not for you, I wouldn't be as happy as I am now. Which character said that?
I'm thinking, who fell for Marcos? I don't remember who Marcos is, to tell you the truth. And I can't remember her name. It's a secondary character, right?
Yes. It's Brooke.
Okay, yeah. I was gone. That one was out. Yeah. Now I remember his ex-fiance. Okay.
Yes. All
Okay.
right. Now that concludes Guess the Characters, and RaeAnne does know her characters.
I do. Sorry.
All right. Now we're going to play Would You Rather Christmas Edition. So, would you rather build a gingerbread house or make sugar cookies?
I would make sugar cookies. My husband adores them. So, and he's not a fan of gingerbread houses.
Would you rather sing Frosty the Snowman or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Probably Rudolph, just because you get to add all the little extra things in there.
Yes. Would you rather be bundled up in a cabin surrounded by snow at Christmas or on a tropical island surrounded by sand?
At Christmas, I would rather be in the cabin, but the rest of the time, give me the beach.
Would you rather cut down a Christmas tree or buy an artificial one?
For the experience, I'd rather cut down one, but I would rather keep an artificial tree because then you don't have to pick up the needles all the time.
Would you rather drink eggnog with nutmeg or hot chocolate with a candy cane?
Hot chocolate, not an eggnog fan. Definitely hot chocolate.
Well, that concludes Game Time Christmas Edition with RaeAnne. Now, RaeAnne, I just want to thank you for being on Book Hour and being here with us. Before I let you go, tell us if you have another book planned or if Christmas at Holiday House is your final book this year.
So that's my final book this year, although I have a couple of reprints coming out. I actually have 3 books out this Christmas. There's a reprint of Coming Home for Christmas that will be out, as well as an anthology that I did with Debbie Maycomer and Brendan Novak and Sheila Roberts. That's going to be going on sale. My next release will be next March. It's another hardcover. It's called The Path to Sunshine Cove and has one of my favorite heroines ever.
Hey, so before we leave you, tell viewers where they can find you on social media.
So you can find me on Facebook at author RaeAnne Thayne. I'm on Instagram at RaeAnne Thayne, pretty much everywhere, just at RaeAnne Thayne. If you look for that, you'll find me.
You heard RaeAnne. Go and check her out on social media now. All the links of where to find out more on RaeAnne Thayne are in the description below, as well as the link to get your copy of Christmas at Holiday House. Thank you for RaeAnne for being on Book Hour, and for those watching, I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.